This is the QTV Nightly News coming to you from our studio on Caraba Avenue, and I am Andy Kerma. Thanks for joining us. Here are our top stories. As the debate on the 2024 draft constitution intensifies, we hear perspectives from a constitutional lawyer and a journalist. The Gambia Red Cross Society today, August 19th, joined the rest of the world to observe World Humanitarian Day designated by the UN to honor humanitarian aid workers globally. The Q Group Foundation have provided a cash donation of $100,000 to the fire victims in Basse Santosu in the Upper River region. A 3-day domestic tourism campaign by the Gambia Tourism Board to promote Gambia's cultural, historical and natural wonders to Gambians ended on Sunday. In international news, 94 journalists from 84 countries are currently in Beijing, China, participating in a 4-month media fellowship program organized by the China International Press Communication Center. In sports news, Special Olympics Gambia, in partnership with Special Olympics Senegal on Sunday, commenced a 10-day summer camp at Q City in Bijilo. Those were the headlines. Now look at the stories in detail. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV News. As the debate on the 2024 draft constitution intensifies, senior counsel Lamin J. Dabo, a constitutional lawyer, tells QTV in an interview that he welcomes some of the amendments to the 2020 draft constitution, but says the executive lacks the mandate to see it pass successfully. While for journalist Kemeseng Sane, the draft constitution is a progressive one. Alusisa reports.
Last week, the government of the Gambia, through the Ministry of Justice, announced that it has considered and reviewed the rejected draft constitution and has decided to regaset it for eventual tabling before the National Assembly. The government said the draft, as it currently stands, reflects the national values and efforts and is consistent with the existence of the Gambia as a sovereign independent Republican state. However, several omissions and adjustments by the executive have been observed from the original 2020 draft constitution presented by the Constitutional Review Commission. This has attracted widespread condemnation across the public space. Someone who welcomes some of the changes in the 2020 draft constitution is senior counsel Lamin J. Dabo, a constitutional lawyer.
When we are talking about constitution and its infringement, we are talking about things that we can really put our hands on. But, to preach morality, which was what happened under the previous chapter 5, is of no use. So I'm glad it's all removed. The retroactivity that was in the 2020 draft was removed, and rightly so, because a document that didn't come into light as a law cannot be used against the president.
While it remains to be seen what the final outcomes will be, lawyer Dabo believes there is a limited chance, as the leader of the main opposition United Democratic Party has already said that his party's National Assembly members will vote against the draft if any provision is amended or removed from the 2020 version, which is now the case with the 2024 draft constitution.
The president and his cabinet has no mandate, in my view, to unilaterally alter the provisions.
Could it be a deliberate move just to say we have done our part? Is the opposition that actually rejected the bill?
Well, that is a possibility in politics, especially if you are not in the inside. You wouldn't know what the calculations are. But that would have been a strategic error.
Kemeseng Sane, alias Keksane, a journalist, urges the public to take time to better understand the content of the draft constitution, but also believes the government must do more to educate the public.
So for me, it's a very progressive document, and I think people should actually take time to read the document and understand.
But then why do you think, people on the other side are saying no to the draft constitution if it's progressive, as you say? What do you think is the agenda here?
Yeah, it's more of politics that is actually been playing, and I think sometimes, we have our political rights that we can exercise, but when it comes to national issues more, especially a document like this, we should remove our political lens and look at the nation as a whole, rather than actually being structurally cemented in our political angles, or everybody wants to take your political position.
The Gambia's current constitution dates from 1997. In September 2020, a draft constitution to replace the 1997 one failed to get through the National Assembly. Since then, a series of consultations and dialogues have been organized with stakeholders to reach a consensus. However, judging by the tone of the debate, the discussions in Parliament are likely to be as heated as they were in 2020, and reaching a consensus will be challenging. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The Gambia Red Cross Society today, August 19th, joined the rest of the world to observe World Humanitarian Day, designated by the UN to honor humanitarian aid workers globally. Osman Jata engaged Abdullah Fai, Acting Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society, and he now reports.
The theme for this year's World Humanitarian Day, #Act for Humanity, emphasizes the importance of humanitarian work in alleviating suffering and maintaining human dignity. World Humanitarian Day acknowledges the bravery, dedication and selflessness of those who provide aid in times of crisis. Abdullah Fai, the Acting Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society, describes World Humanitarian Day as a special moment to reflect and celebrate the work of aid workers.
Looking at different humanitarian needs that are on the ground, we have seen the impact of climate change and flooding, windstorms, food and nutrition insecurity, and this means humanitarian organizations and humanitarian workers have a big task to do to make sure that those people who are affected by such hazards are actually supported.
Aid workers are exposed to several challenges but still remain committed to their work. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres recognizes and praises aid workers for their courage, determination and their service to humanity.
And an end to attacks on humanitarians and on all civilians. We demand that governments put pressure on all parties to conflict to protect civilians. We demand an end to arms transfers to armies and groups that violate international law. We demand an end to impunity so that perpetrators face justice.
Like other humanitarian groups, the work of the Gambia Red Cross Society goes beyond only first aid response. Abdullah Fai elaborates.
Whatever we are doing, we have two key important things that we always make sure that is integrated. Community engagement and accountability, but also protection, gender and inclusion. These are always integrated in whatever activity we are doing, and that's why we have even designated officers that look at that.
The UN's Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs reveals that 288 workers were killed in 33 countries in 2023, which is more than double the previous year's figure of 118. In response to these acts of violence against aid workers, the UN chief calls on world leaders to take urgent action.
2023 was the deadliest year on record for humanitarian personnel. In Gaza, in Sudan and many other places, humanitarian workers are being attacked, killed, injured and abducted alongside the civilians they support. Disinformation campaigns spread lies that cost lives.
The Gambia Red Cross Society continues to play an important role in providing assistance to the public in times of need. During the July 2022 floods in the Gambia, in which 11 people reportedly lost their lives, the institution has been instrumental in providing humanitarian services to victims. In 1948, the Gambia Red Cross Society has been supporting and complementing the efforts of the Gambia's healthcare system by embarking on numerous activities. On World Humanitarian Day, the Gambia Red Cross Society is actively participating in global efforts to complement and support its staff and volunteers. Reporting for QTV News, Osman Jata.
The Q Group Foundation have provided a cash donation of $100,000 to victims in Basse Santoso in the Upper River region following a devastating fire incident last week. Alaji A.F. Jallo was at the presentation and he now reports.
The donation of Q Group Foundation came after the fire incident that happened 2 weeks ago was reported on QTV Nightly News. At the presentation of the $100,000, the victims, Abdul Jallo and Ramatulai Kante, were delighted that the Q Group has come to their aid at this time of need.
We are
indeed very happy. The Q Group has wiped our tears. This will help us rebuild our home. We are very grateful to the Q Group. for their humanitarian response during disasters. We are happy and thank you for giving us hope.
We want to thank the Q Group for their support. This came at the right time when the family is in need of help. This is the work of God. You really showed us that you really care. All we need to do is to continue to pray for Q Group for more blessings and protection. Thank you, the Q Group, for responding to our need, and we are delighted.
Hamadi Bari, the representative of the Q Group, made the presentation.
Sanari Gilima story wada Air QTV News and story Mimi Ben Q Group Foundation for.
When we saw the fire incident story on the QTV Nightly News, the incident touched our hearts because the disaster is painful. The Q Group empathized with the family. That's why the team acted swiftly and made a decision to respond to this devastating incident. It is very common for the Q Group to respond to the plight of people anytime the need arises. Therefore, we are here to present to you a cash donation of $100,000 on behalf of the Q Group. We want to thank our esteemed customers for patronizing us. We will continue to give you the best of services in the country because your satisfaction is our priority.
The community of Basse Santasu have praised the Q Group for their kindness and philanthropism in the areas of health, education, and during disasters. Anyone willing to further help these victims can contact QTV on email news@qtv.gm or call 3333-245 during office hours. For QTV News, I am Alaji AF Charlo.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more local, international, and sports news stories. Do stay tuned.
Need a quick car service? Espas Motors has got you covered. From quick scans to oil changes and fuel filter replacements, we handle it all within an hour. Take advantage of our exclusive promotion with 35% off labor and 10% off service. Espas Motors is located at Bertil Harding Highway, opposite Kotu Power Station. Book now. Call 353-4444, 352-2222, 385-6822. Hurry, offer ends September 7th. Espas Motors.
Welcome to the future of transportation in the Gambia. The Bertil Harding Highway, a 22-kilometer double carriageway, is set to revolutionize travel and connectivity in our beloved country. A 3-lane highway means more space for vehicles, smoother traffic flow, and reduced congestion. Each lane has a specific purpose. The leftmost lane for overtaking and faster vehicles, the middle lane for standard driving, and the rightmost lane for slower and turning vehicles.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. A 3-day domestic tourism campaign by the Gambia Tourism Board to promote Gambia's cultural, historical and natural wonders to Gambians ended on Sunday. Loli M. Kamara was with them and she filed in this report.
The domestic tourism campaign includes enlisting social media influencers to promote and boost the overall economy and allow citizens to experience and appreciate the country's cultural, historical and natural wonders. Over the weekend, the tour continued with a boat trip from Denton Bridge in Banjul to Lamin Lodge, where boat guides gave us an overview of how they operate and the services offered on board. Halfway into the ride, members stopped to view the sandbank on the riverbank. The social media influencers explored the beauty and diversity of the Gambia in the course of the 3 days by engaging in various activities. Brenda Conte called on beachgoers to always clean the beach.
Have fun but stay safe. Stay close with people, and the sea is very unpredictable, so it's best to always stay with people. And also, make sure we leave the beach clean so it can reflect the smiling coast of Africa.
Fatumata Jobate, also social media influencer and part of the campaign. We are in the holiday season, and kids like to be at the beach during this time. Nonetheless, we should not leave them by themselves. Always get someone to be with them. Let's check out for the danger signs at sea and never go too far out into the sea or to deeper places, as it can be dangerous. Mamo Swane, the Senior Officer of Marketing and Communications at the GT Board, while thanking everyone who participated in the campaign, has this message for Gambians regarding preserving our beaches.
People like to go out on Sundays, for example, the popular Sunday beach that everybody loves to go out. But then the responsibility on the very same the beach goers to be responsible enough to keep the beach clean has been an issue. But the Gambia Tourism Board has come up with a strategic move and then tackled this issue. We have put in place or hired a private company who are responsible for cleaning our beach. That's why when you walk around today, you can find that the beach looks very clean and tidy. Now, it is upon us Gambians to be very responsible to make sure that we do not keep that attitude of littering the beach.
Fodeba, Head of Marketing at the GT Board, underscores the importance of the domestic tourism campaign.
Domestic tourism is the way forward. If you look at it in nutshell, you will see that now Gambians themselves, knowing that they can go for a vacation in their own country, can give opportunity to businesses. Because like yourself, you may decide to go for a holiday maybe in Janjambure. So if you stay in a facility in Janjambure, of course, the accommodation provider in Janjambure will gain something. So it doesn't actually mean that only the international tourists can be able to do that, or the locals they themselves can do that. And the impact is growing gradually because last year we started this campaign, and this year we are doing it again. I'm sure before the end of the tourism policy and the strategy, we will really realize a huge benefits and potential in this. And of course, there's a huge potential. In fact, we believe that the Gambians can do it.
The Gambia Tourism Board will be promoting domestic tourism through various campaigns and initiatives, encouraging locals to explore their own country and support the local economy. Last year, the campaign focused on heritage sites, and this year, the board is encouraging the public to explore the beauty and rich cultural diversity of their own country. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
We will now take a look at news away from home. In international news, 94 journalists from 84 countries are currently in Beijing, China, participating in a 4-month media fellowship program organized by the China International Press Communication Center, CIPCC. QTV's Jenema Sonko is one of the participants, and she now reports.
The fellowship brings together journalists from Africa, Latin America, Asia Pacific, and Europe to deepen media cooperation between China and these regions. Through their participation, the journalists will be exposed to China's socio-economic development, culture, and media frameworks, and also visit different cities across China. The journalists will also cover major diplomatic events such as the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, FOCAC. Yu Li is the director of the China International Press Communication Center.
And the purpose, China and Africa are good friends since a long time ago. It is a very good tradition. So since 2014, we have already established the first press center, which is China-Africa Press Center. So now, China-Africa Press Center has already entered in its 10th year. So the China-African Press Center will invite our African journalists to come to China to see what happened every day in China and tell their people and the country what happened really here in China.
At some point in the program, participants will have an opportunity to serve as interns in Chinese media, improving their expertise and experience. Jerry Rawlings from Kenya and Kanku Moingumol from Tanzania, participants in the fellowship, both expressed excitement ahead of their 4-month experience in China.
I'm looking towards learning more about China, learning more about new media, learning more about artificial intelligence in newsrooms, and just looking at what did China do to be where they are today in terms of economy, in terms of politics, in terms of governance? What are they doing right that other nations or other countries are not doing right?
Actually, this is my first time in China, and I expect a lot. I expect to learn. I expect to connect with so many journalists that are here. I mean, the professionalism is so large because people report on business, people report on tourism, culture. We've got us who do the hard news. So I'm expecting to learn a lot because you can never know who you will be sitting next to.
Information ministers and heads of national televisions from across the African continent will be converging on Wednesday the 21st here in Beijing for the 6th Africa-China Media Cooperation Forum and China-Africa Media and Think Tank High-Level Dialogue. This is part of efforts to deepen media cooperation between China and Africa, thereby forging common perspectives on global issues. Reporting for QTV News from Beijing, China, I am Jennifer Sonko.
We will now take a look at the latest in the world of sports. Special Olympics Gambia, in partnership with Special Olympics Senegal, on Sunday commenced a 10-day summer camp at Q City in Bijilo. Our sports reporter Mamoudou Gajaka visited them, and he now reports.
In a gesture of solidarity, unity and inclusivity, these Special Olympics athletes from the Gambia and Senegal gathered to celebrate the unique human ties that unite them. A march past, led by the Gambia Police Band, which also provided entertainment, demonstrates togetherness and power, as well as the distinctive lifestyle of youngsters with intellectual disability. Mahmoud Jawla, Assistant Executive Director of the National Sports Council, spoke on behalf of the Minister of Youth and Sports.
Inclusion is very important, and it is just it is not a mere representation. It involves creating an enabling environment where their values will be recognized, they will be respected, and then they will be shown love, so that they also feel that they are part of the society. They also feel that they can do something in their own way to contribute to national development. These are things that we need to tell them.
Hassan Cham, Special Olympics Senegal Director, says their collaboration with their Gambian counterparts is fruitful and both organizations can learn from each other's best practice.
dañoo boole ñaari Special Olympics yi pour ñu nekk benn parce que réew yi presque ñoom benn lañu kon donc lu tax sunu xale yi nga xam
Putting these two associations together as one unit is very good. We are one people from different countries. Bringing our athletes with intellectual disabilities together will empower them as they have rights which need to be protected.
Omar Toure, the coach of Special Olympics Gambia athletes, welcomed the joint summer camp, describing it as a collaboration which will strengthen relationships between the sister associations.
We are thrilled to have you here to share the spirit of sportsmanship, friendship, and inclusion. Together, let us celebrate the power of unity and friendship that transcends the border and languages. May our time together be filled with shared experiences.
These promotional videos show the power of inclusivity, especially for those living with intellectual disabilities.
The Gambia is the smiling coast of Africa where everyone is warm, happy, and they like meeting new people. But it is not everyone that is smiling. Not everyone is seen. They see them but they don't. They look at them but they look past them. Most times people like Alaji, Louis, Yaya, and Hassan are invisible to everyone. They all have intellectual disabilities. Join them to build inclusive communities.
Intellectual disability, or ID, is a term used when a person has certain limitations in cognitive functioning and skills, including conceptual, social, and practical skills, such as language, social, and self-care skills. These limitations can cause a person to develop and learn more slowly or differently than a typically developing person. The joint summer camp, will give participants the opportunity to interact and share ideas to strengthen their partnership. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
Before we end, here is the recap of the headlines. As the debate on the 2024 draft constitution intensifies, we heard perspective from senior counsel Lamin J. Dabo, a constitutional lawyer and a journalist Kemeseng Sane. The Gambia Red Cross Society today, August 19th, joined the rest of the world to observe World Humanitarian Day, designated by the UN to honor humanitarian aid workers globally. The Q Group Foundation have provided a cash donation of $100,000 to the fire victims in Basse Santosu in the Upper River region. In international news, 94 journalists from 84 countries are currently in Beijing, China, participating in a 4-month media fellowship program organized by the China International Press Communication Center. A 3-day domestic tourism campaign by the Gambia Tourism Board to promote Gambia's cultural, historical and natural wonders to Gambians ended on Sunday. In sports news, Special Olympics Gambia in partnership with Special Olympics Senegal on Sunday commenced a 10-day summer camp at Q City in Bijilo. Well, that's all we have for you in this bulletin. Join us at 10 p.m. for another news bulletin. Thanks for watching.